Welcome again to another conversation with our icons and our elders. Today, the 23rd of June, Professor Abdoulaye Saine and I are hosting Alhaji Kebba C.A. Mr. Kah is one of our veteran politicians in this country, and he was part of the team that led us to independence. Mr. Kebba C.A has a lot of experience, and we're here to share that experience. Alhaji Kebba C.A, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you.
You were born in...
I was born in Medina by Mas, in the lower Nyomi district.
Yes.
North Bank, in the North Bank.
What year was this? Were you born?
And that was in 1933.
1933.
Yes, I was born in 1933.
Yeah, so you have a lot of wealth of experience.
I shoot.
Yeah. And then you went to school in the North Bank, or you went to school in Banjul?
I went to school in Banjul.
Yes.
I think at this point I need to tell you how everything started.
Yes, please.
I was born in Medina.
Yes.
I had a brother, elder brother, who was called Falilu. He was born there too. And I had a sister too. She was born in Medina too. So it was in the 1937 that we came over to Banjul from Nyomi. My father, mother, and my brother and sister. We as a family came over to Banjul. I then attended St. Augustine Secondary Primary School.
Yes.
My brother and I went to school together. We started from ABC. That used to be the name of the first class in the school.
Yes.
College or some sort of kindergarten. It was a little bit more than kindergarten.
Yes.
Anyway, that used to be the beginning of the school.
Yes.
You see, in those days.
Okay.
It was Roman school.
Yes.
Some people used to call it Roman school, or some used to call it St. Augustine Primary School.
Primary school. Okay.
So I was there until I attained standard 4.
Yes.
Then I sat for the standard 4 entrance examination.
Okay.
It was actually the desire of the headmaster of the school to offer me as a candidate for the scholarship for that year.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I was over the age.
Okay.
So it was impossible for me to sit for the exams, for the scholarship exams. So the alternative was to sit for the entrance to go to secondary school.
Yes.
So I sat for the entrance to secondary school and I was successful. Then I moved to St. Augustine Secondary School upstairs. The ground floor was the primary school.
Yes.
Then the top was the secondary school.
Okay, this is the
So
school
it was
at Hagan Street.
in Roman school, Hagan Street.
Okay, good. Okay.
So from standard 4, I sat for the entrance examination, became successful, and was moved to Form 1 in the secondary school. That was the top floor, because it was just one ground, one top floor, one ground floor.
Yes.
Yes.
Who were your teachers then?
Pardon?
Your teachers, who were they in the secondary school?
Well, the primary school was headed by one Herbert Thomas. He was the head of the school.
Yes.
He had a long staff, he had a very big staff. The school was manned by about six teachers, something like that, male and female. But in my class, in my first class, I had a teacher whose name was Teacher Dickey.
Teacher
Dickey.
Was
he was resident at Hagan Street. Teacher Dickey. After when that was standard, I think that was standard one. No, that was the infant class.
Okay.
You see, when I went to standard one, I had another teacher who was called Johnny Bass. And Johnny Bass, then there were, and so on along the ladder, up to standard 4. That standard 4 was the entrance examination class. You see?
Yes.
So when I got there,
Yes.
I sat for the entrance examination and was successful.
Very good.
So
Okay.
I moved on to Form 1 upstairs
Okay. And
in
you?
the secondary school.
Okay. How long was it? Were you there at the secondary school?
The secondary school, 4 years.
4 years.
Yes, up
And
to
then-
Form 4.
And then you sat today.
I didn't sit to any special examinations.
Okay.
For instance, there used to be two examinations that were the highest
Yes.
in those days
Yes.
in the schools.
Yes.
Junior Cambridge
Yes.
and the senior Cambridge.
Yes.
I got to the junior Cambridge class,
Yes.
but I didn't sit. I didn't wait to sit for the for the examination. Because what happened was this: I happened to have been born in a poor family. So there was, for economic reason, there were difficulties for me to pursue my education.
Yes.
You see, even up to the present level, I had to have some assistance. You see, some people helped me, friends of the family, for my school fees and other things, even for my clothing fees. So secondary school happened to be more expensive than the elementary school, than the primary school. So when I got to the high school, the problems of the economic problems got more and more widened. It became more difficult. So it became then the time was up then when I got to Form 4 for me to end my education there and look for work to help the family. You see, because they were unable to pay for me anymore to go beyond Form 4. With great pain, they made this. They did their best.
Yes, of course.
Since they were able to help me up to Form 4. So, but then I couldn't go beyond that, Mr. Sillah. You see?
So you left school
so
and
I
then you
left
went to
school in Form 4. You see, but I was very young, and Father Farrell was the principal of the school. He was the principal of the school, And then when I went to tell, because I had discussed this with my parents, especially my father, that I would like to leave school and to find job, you see, to help. Then my father asked me what sort of job I wanted to do. I told him that I wanted to be a teacher. He said, okay, because when you do teaching, perhaps you will improve your learning more, and that I definitely support.
Yes.
So when he agreed on that, I then approached the principal and told him what I wanted. You see? And he said, well, you are very young, Kebba, and you are doing well. You are a promising lad, certainly. Yeah, it appeared that he wanted to discourage me just for me to continue my education. But then I had then made the day had cut. I already decided and had the support of my family. You see. So I was unable to
continue.
Withdraw.
Okay, but did you find work?
So he said to me, okay, what we'll do then, I will get in touch with the education authorities.
Yes.
Then the education department was at the secretariat at that time. Then the chief education officer, who was the boss of the education department at that time, this ministerial system was not being even dreamed of, you see. The education department was headed by one Mr. Allen. He was the chief senior education officer.
This was a European?
He was a European, yes. That was colonial days.
Yes.
So, Father Farrell informed him about it. In fact, he spoke to him by phone. And then he gave me a letter to take to him. You see. So, and then when I went, Mr. Allen interviewed me, he talked to me, son, and then he suggested that since I was too young and I looked promising, he would, and since my desire was to become a school teacher, he was suggesting to me to go to college.
Yes.
To go to college, whether I would like that. That was his idea. He said he would strongly advise that I should go to college.
Yes.
You see, instead of going to the classroom, straight away to the college, you see. Then at that time, it was called the Teacher Training College. It was at Georgetown.
TTC, yes.
Yes, you see. And the Gambia Teacher Training College, yes. So that was how I went to Georgetown. Yes.
Did you find Ba Trawala there, Mr. Faye?
No, I went there before Ba.
Oh, you went there before?
I think I preceded Ba. I went there before Ba.
Okay.
You see.
And
Ba was there from a few years later, I think 2
But who were your contemporaries there?
My contemporaries were one of them was my teacher in Roman secondary, but he came there for a refresher course only.
Yes.
Because I think after 6 months, then he was released. And that was Michael Toure.
Teacher Mike.
Teacher Mike.
Yes.
He was my teacher, but we were in one college at the same time afterwards. Yes. And then I had Kate. Kate was there too.
Mr. Kate. Yes.
Pa Kate, Hassan Musa Kamara.
Yes.
You see, John Balde.
Yes.
And a host of them, who were the other people. One Mamad Young.
Yes.
Gibel Sose.
Yes. Yes. We talked about him today.
And it's a long time.
Okay, yes, it's a long time.
I cannot recall straight away right now.
Okay.
But then we were about 50. We were about 30 students.
Well, that was
you
quite.
see?
That was sizable.
John Jao,
John Jao?
I call John Jao, Paul
Paul Balde?
No, not Paul
Macaulay?
Balde, Paul Keta. He was called Paul Keta, this one. And you know, some from Banjul, others from the provinces, provincial but you know, some of the teachers came from they were from the provinces. They came to the college. They were teachers already. They were provincial birth. They were teachers. Some were already teachers. They were called people teachers. You see. And then they came for training. You see. Some also from Banjul. You see? So
but how long were you at this teacher training college?
It was just a year's course.
1 year's course.
For all of them, all of us. Not 1 year. Well, not beyond 1 year. For every student, 1 year. In those days.
So when you finished, where did you get to?
Well, I became a qualified teacher. And was posted to Birkama School.
Wow. And what year was this?
That was in 1951. On the Sheikh Ujuf. Sheikh Ujuf was then the headmaster of the school. He had already been trained and qualified. So he was in charge of the school.
Very good.
I came and was a member of staff. I was on the staff. But
what was your salary then? How much did they pay you?
The salary
as a qualified teacher then?
20 pounds.
20
in
pounds.
In those days, they were paid 20 pounds for a qualified teacher. The unqualified teacher, possibly is 8 pounds, something like that. Very poor. People teacher 2-3 pounds, like that. So, but then with some certain facilities, because what happened in those days, when you were qualified, the question of posting would arise, and used to be a problem for the education department, because the Batos-born guys didn't like provincial posting. You see, and most of the teachers were Banjul-born. You see, but they didn't like to go out to serve in the provinces. You see, so and because of that, education department thought it necessary to provide some kind of incentives. Among them was protected allowance, they used to call it. Protected allowance. And there were certain allowances. They were attached to the salary as sort of incentive to attract teachers. And it was it worked well. They tried it and it worked well, because certain teachers decided to change their mind and were preferred to serve in the provinces because of those incentives. You see?
So you were at Birkama?
You were at, so I was posted to Birkama, and I served under youth for a period of 4 years. 4 years. Then I took over the school from him.
What year was this?
51, 50, 50, because I think I went there 51, because I went to college 51, 52. At the end of 51, that was I became a qualified teacher, and was posted 52 to Birkama. You see, 52 Birkama, 56, or I think up to 56, 57, something like that. I was there for a period of 4 or 5 years,
Yes.
of which the latter part of the period, I served as head of the school, you see. Because I think I served as a member of staff, new teacher, on the youth for I think 3 years, something like that, you see. And
At
then
what
I
point?
did another 3 years
Yes.
as head of the school.
Okay. But you didn't teach anymore after that?
But after that,
Yes.
I did
Burkama?
teach again. I did, because I wanted to give up teaching afterwards. I wanted to switch to the to more lucrative service,
Yes.
such as the customs and the like.
Okay.
You see?
Yes.
So I requested for a transfer
Yes.
to the other department,
Okay.
but
Was
the
there?
education authority didn't want to lose me.
Yes.
So they transferred me to Bakau.
Okay.
They transferred me to Bakau. I served for a while there.
Okay.
And then-
What year was this?
After 5 years or so in Birkama, I went to Bakau. So 57 or so, I went to Bakau. Bakau 2 years or so, I came to Banjul, Karab Island School. I was there, I think, with your dad,
You were there with my father.
yes, I think
yes,
with
yes.
your father and Pakit, you see. We
Yes.
were in the, yes, I think your father was in the
Yeah,
school.
my father
but
came after Kate.
after kids. I think we were together.
You
in
were
the
together
school.
in 58
Yes,
years?
you see, I can't remember. But then I was there as I happened to be the first batch of teachers in the school then
Yes.
on the packets.
Yes, that was 57.
Yeah, it was 57 now. Okay, you
Okay.
see.
Okay.
Then I served after. But then I was not long in the school.
Right.
You see, I then followed up my desire to transfer
Yes.
to another department,
Okay.
and I eventually succeeded and was transferred to the post office
Okay.
at the headquarters there.
Okay.
You see, and I then became traveling postmaster
Yes.
in this
On Lady Right.
on board the Lady Ride,
Okay.
and on the Stanhope
Sounds
too.
familiar. Like. Okay.
On the Lady Ride and on the Stanhope.
And Stanhope,
too.
yes.
The Stanhope was
Stanhope,
another
yes.
small boat, you
Yes.
see, something like a yacht, you see, but it was a boat. Yes, I think the
Yes, I
government used
remember
to use it
Stanhope.
at times in the old days.
Yes.
Yeah. So when the Lady Ride was not, when it was not the turn of the Lady Ride to travel, I would use the Stanhope.
Stanhope, yes.
You see, to take money and
Males.
mails
Yes.
to the provinces.
Yes.
With an assistant, one postman used to be with me. You see,
Okay.
and I continued that until I became. Yes, afterwards I finished the traveling. I think yes, I did it for for 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
I was transferred to the account section of the post office.
Yes.
You see, I
Okay.
was transferred to the post office. Although the traveling post office is part of that section, but part of the accounts branch. But I handed over to one Mr. Nikul
Yes.
and took over the accounts branch
Yes.
of the post office. You see, under one Tijan phone.
Yes.
You see,
TV
under no one Idikuru. Was it Idi? Was it Idi or? Yes, I think it was Tijan phone. Yes, Tijan phone was the accountant from the from the treasury, from the accountant general. He was moved to to the post office to head the accounts branch of the post office.
Yes.
So I was under him.
Okay.
I was the assistant accountant.
Okay. But at what point did your mind come into politics?
That's right. Once I was in the post office.
Whilst you were at the post office?
Yes, whilst I was in the post office, these constitutional changes were also going on in the country. So I see we moved from colonial status to representative government, to responsible government, you know. So whilst moving towards more advanced financial, more advanced political development, you see, the Gambian people started to feel that they needed to take more responsible position in their country, you see, and pressure was being brought upon the authorities to push things, you see, towards more advanced stage of development.
Maybe,
so on one occasion,
maybe you were part of that civil service strike.
The civil service crisis.
Yes, that were agitating for more, for more Gambianization.
That's right. It was. I was a principal
agitator.
I was a very, at least the principal was very active part. I took an active part in the cry for that.
Yes.
And so in one Mansa Bengo at Birkama, the Gambian chiefs, you see, somehow they didn't realize that this was to their detriment, but they did it. They demanded for more participation of their own blood, Gambians, to take part in the affairs of the country.
Wonderful.
And they put the case very strong, especially men like Tambajame. You see, they stood firmly for the colonial government to take firm decision leading to independence eventually, or in the end. You see, because they thought that where they were dragging their feet, they were not sincere in their decision to part with power in the eventually. So they put pressure on them, especially at that conference in that Benso Bengo in Brikama. They asked for the extension of the franchise. So then the franchise stopped at Bakau. From Banjul to Bakau, that was all. The rest of the country were disenfranchised. They were not having the vote. So, but after that, the then governor recommended to the Secretary of State the Gambian desire for the extension of the franchise to reach the provinces, and this was given the blessing of colonial office. Whitehall agreed, you see. So,
was that the time of Governor Winley? Was that the Governor Winley?
That was after, no, that was John Paul.
Sir John Paul?
Yes. Winley,
Paul came after
Winley coincided with the old Gambian politicians, all Gambian politicians, such as Jahumpa, Jisifai, you see, and others. That is also very interesting. I wasn't a politician at the time, because I became, I must say that I became interested in politics long before I became a real politician. I used to do, even after school, I was doing private studies overseas courses. You see? So, and in these overseas courses, among the subjects I was taking, politics was one of them.
Okay.
Because the constitution of the British constitution, I can tell you offhand at that time.
So you've long had this political
Yes,
ambitions?
that was in me long before I became a politician.
Okay, when did you translate those ambitions into reality?
Yeah, that was, because you see, I have so many things to tell you. You see, but then to tell you this all simultaneously is impossible. So I'll be, and then you must be helping me because I can go up to a certain stage where I can divert. You see, and you need to call me back. You see? So
it's all the experience you're sitting on.
That's right. So because I was entering into a very interesting part of my life. You see, before I became a politician, I mustn't say before I became an active politician. I was even active then. I was a civil servant and was very active in politics. And only that I was unable to stand on platform and address the nation or things like that. Because I was not allowed by you.
Exactly, you were not allowed to do that.
Yes, you see, general orders
and
just hit you on the back.
Okay.
So you were asking me something else. There was when did all right. Let me hear what you want.
Okay.
What do you want to say
now? We're all the way now up to 1958.
Up to 1958.
And that was the time?
Up to 1958.
Yes. That was just after the Mansabengo in Birkama.
After the Mansabengo?
In Birkama.
After Mansabengo, baby Birkama, Mansabengo.
Colonial
office gave the colonial office gave
extended the franchise.
Request. You see, which was through the chiefs. And I say, there was something I mentioned by the way that the chiefs were agitating this, but didn't realize that it was to their own detriment.
Exactly. Yes.
When PPP came to power, they were being removed. You see, one by one.
Yes.
On one occasion, in fact, 5 chiefs were dismissed at the same time.
Why was
by
that?
the then Minister for Local Government. And he came to. That's why I'm saying, Mr. Sillah, I've got so many things.
Yeah, but let's get to this point. It's very interesting.
Yes, okay.
Now, the chiefs were agitating for more to extend the franchise.
So extend the franchise.
Okay, and then the franchise.
And also to increase the representation. Because most of the members of parliament at that time, in fact, there was a legislature.
Council.
Were members of the legislature who were mostly nominated. Elected members were few. Uncle Fire JC, even Jahumpa then, the old brothers, and they were selected few
members.
Yes.
Okay.
Nominated members. The Alaji Usman Jeng, all these were nominated members in the old days, long years.
That was Usman Jeng
and Usman Jeng
Mr. Fai. No, Mr. Fai of Dobson Street. Paseo Fai. Yeah, and later on
Mustafa Fai's father.
Yes.
You see?
Yes. Sheikh Omar Fai.
Sheikh Omar Fai, that's
yes.
And others. Those were the early days, those were the founding members of the they laid the foundation.
Yes.
You see?
Okay.
And we came, in fact, followed by JC, Jahumpa and others.
Yes.
That was another period.
Okay.
Then our period.
Your period, you came.
Well, PPP time. You see, the PPP was the last among these guys in the colonial days.
Okay.
Because up to that time, the colonial rule was the order of the day. In fact, there was colonial the country was ruled by colonial office. Okay. You see?
Okay. Let me go back a bit so that we can put things in more perspective. Now, Sandy Ali Bojang was part of that Mansabengo. Another man
Sanjali Bojang,
Tambajang.
you know, in those days, and Sanjali Bojang was not a chief at that time.
Yes.
He became a chief when the PPP came to power. So he was the president of the PPP.
Yes.
The boss of the party, actually, you see.
Okay.
But he was not a member of that Bengon. That Bengon was for the chiefs only.
Okay.
You see,
All
the
right.
chiefs were then speaking on behalf of their subjects.
Yes. Yes. Okay. And then, how did you get into party politics? How did you get him to stand as a candidate?
Okay, that's another. Yes, in fact, you asked earlier when I diverted. Whilst working in the post office, one fine day, when it was decided that the country should move to another level of constitutional development, which was, I think it was representative government.
Yes.
The franchise also reached the provinces.
Yes.
You see, anybody reaching the age of 18 was qualified,
eligible to vote. Yes.
So the franchise covered the whole country.
Yes.
You see, yeah. Then the people of Nyomi decided that they should look for somebody to represent them. You know, I told you that the whole constituency was one. All the three districts were one constituency.
So Nyomi
came. The people of Nyomi came. Where? Nyomi originally, Nyomi, the two Nyomis and Jokado constituted one constituency.
Okay, so now I see.
But then, after that now, it was for that I stood for election when the they redrew the boundaries.
Yes.
The constituency boundary, and Nyomi constituency became 3 instead of 1 constituency.
Okay.
Nyomi, Lower Nyomi was 1 constituency, Upper Nyomi, Jokadu also.
So
each of them was a constituency, returning 3 members because each returned a member to the house.
Okay. So the people of Nyomi
came for me.
Okay, good.
You see?
Right.
The 2 Nyomis and Jokado are neighbors. You see? And there was understanding among the 3 constituencies somehow.
Yeah.
Especially when they decided to get somebody to represent them.
Yeah.
So we all agreed to stand on UP platform.
United Party platform.
You see, yes. UP platform. The people of Nyomi came for me, but they wanted me to stand on UP platform.
Yes.
Yes. By then, the party system is beginning to gain ground.
Yes.
The system came afterwards. This party system. You see, before then there was no party system.
Yes.
It was just after election the governor would just choose these as ministers, minister of finance, ministry, 2 or 3 ministers to join him in the cabinet with official members from heads of department.
So you were pulled by the people of Nyomi?
Yes.
But
so the people of Nyomi, a meeting was held in Kebba.
Yes. Nugu Kebba.
Yes, Nugu Kebba.
Yes.
A meeting was held in Nugu Kebba
to
choose the candidate, the UP candidate for the 3 constituencies.
Yes.
You follow?
Yes.
Okay. People of the Nyomi wanted me to stand in Nyomi, the Nyomi constituency.
Yes.
The people of Lower Nyomi wanted me to stand in Lower Nyomi.
Yes.
The people of Upper Nyomi wanted me to stand there too.
Yes.
And so Jokado.
The people of Jokado too.
Yes, were all they didn't want the other candidates.
So you
they
were
were
popular.
for Mafuri and others. They didn't want them. They wanted me, and
Okay.
I couldn't represent the three. I must represent only one.
Yes.
You see? Okay. Then I said, okay. What I want to suggest, what I am going to tell you now is that to avoid serious misunderstanding, I would suggest that I stand in any of the constituencies. I have no preference.
Yes.
I am prepared to stand on any constituency, in any constituency.
On the UP platform.
I know me or Jokadu, any of them. You see? But they insisted that I must stand in Yomi constituency.
Yes.
I said, no, let us be, we have to strike a compromise somehow. I am prepared to stand in one of the Yomis.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
Either of the two Yomis, I have no objection. I respect that. Upper Yomi said I should stand there. Lower Yomi said I stand on Yomi soil. In the end, well, we agreed that I should stand in Yomi constitution. I should stand in Jokado. You see?
Okay.
I told them that, okay, now, since there's a talk of war in this, I am going to stand in Jokado.
Okay.
Because after all, we are all one. Yomi, the Yomis and Jokado have been one since time immemorial.
Yes.
So don't allow politics to divide you.
Okay.
You see?
Okay.
And I can stand, but they didn't like the other constituent. They didn't like the other candidates.
Yes.
You see?
So
because they were not good material for
Yes.
them. They go to this end because my food was not good, certainly, and another. So, okay.
So who were the other candidates?
Mafude was one and Jeremiah was PPP. Mafude and there was one.
Mafude was PPP?
Mafude Lowo Nyomi.
Yes.
Mafude Lowo Nyomi. Mafude stood in Lowo Nyomi.
What was Mafude's surname? Mafude's Sonko, was it?
That's it, Mafude's Sonko. That's it.
Yes.
It was not three constituencies at that stage.
No.
From the first three districts forming one constituency,
Yes.
the next stage was to divide Oponyomi, of which one part went to Jokado to form the Jokado constituency.
Okay.
The other came to Nyomi, to form Nyomi constituency.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
So Mafode was to stand here in Nyomi constituency when the division took effect. So he was to stand here on the UP platform, and I did on Jokado.
Yes.
But that meant Jokado district plus the rest of Oponyomi. Jokado district plus the rest of Oponyomi forming the Jokado constituency.
Okay.
And Lower Nyomi plus the rest, one part, the other part of Oponyomi forming the Nyomi constituency.
But both Jokado and Oponyomi and Lower Nyomi were all members of the United Party. And they all the candidates stood for the UP?
No. You know, at this meeting, the meeting was for the UP to select each candidate.
Yes.
Each party was now, the party system had come into play.
Yes.
You see? So each candidate, each party had to sponsor a candidate.
Yes.
So we were UP candidates.
Okay,
we
good.
were not PPP or candidates of other
Okay,
parties.
so you were UP.
We were UP, all these people I'm telling you.
Okay.
Except perhaps Jerry and Mafode, Jerry Mane and others were PPP. But Mafode and I, we were UP candidates. Yes.
Okay, good. And what year was this?
That
Was this for the
in 1962.
62 elections?
Yes, 1962 election.
Okay, good. All
So but then I joined the. Shortly after, less than a month even, after the election, I joined the PPP. I left the UP and joined the PPP.
But why did you, were you the first person who, as it were, crossed the carpet?
I crossed the carpet in that year.
Okay.
Went
to the UP, went to the
yeah,
PPP.
but they are saying that in the colonial days,
yes,
towards independence,
yes,
Mbake was forced to cross the carpet from the chief side. This is being said.
This is Omar Mbake.
Omar Mbake.
Chief.
He was on the side of it. I think that happened. They said he was a chief. He was a chief representative. You know, there was a time when chiefs were represented. He was among the chiefs who were represented.
Yeah.
So somehow, when there was problem, when I think this was when we had problem with the colonial government, and they wanted a decision to be made, you see, and Mbake had the decision. Whichever side he went would become the upper hand.
But is it correct?
So he went to the other side.
Okay, but is it correct to say that you were the first member of?
I was the first member of the UP to cross the floor to the government. Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to establish. All right, so now.
So I joined the PPP.
Okay.
Yes,
okay, but how were your constituents taking this?
And they backed me up.
They backed you up?
Yeah, because before I went, I had consultations with them.
Okay,
I didn't just go like that.
Okay, but
and the Mafode too joined me.
Okay. Okay, but what were the grounds?
Pardon?
What were the grounds for you wanting to cross the carpet, as it were?
No, because of difficulty in getting the UP to sponsor me. It was because the party also was brought upon the party by the people of Nyomi and Jokado to sponsor me.
Okay.
Because at that time they said they didn't want to sponsor me. They wanted to sponsor a Banjo-born person. In the person of this John, what's the John?
Matar John?
No.
Burang John.
Burang John.
Burang John, yes.
They wanted to sponsor Burang John. And this was definitely their intention. Their family wanted to do it. And I came to know about it. The people of Nyomi themselves made this very clear to me that PS and his people wanted John, you see.
Okay.
They wanted to sponsor. So when it was only at that meeting, the meeting decided who was to stand, you see. But up to the time they called, these people of the UP report, the intention was to have Fode and Mafode and Burang John.
Okay.
But then at that meeting, the people made it very clear that they wanted their own son. You see, even the alkali of Kebba, he said to Pierre Njai, who was standing, he said, Pierre, we want your party, but this is our son. We want him as our candidate.
Okay.
Putting him in a dilemma.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
Because he didn't want to sponsor me, but he didn't want to lose the constituency too.
Yes.
Either. So he was in a state of dilemma.
Yes.
Eh?
Yes.
But the pressure was put upon him to bear.
Yes.
And eventually he gave way. And I said, okay, now that this has happened, I'll pay them in my own coins. In the coins, because that was what they did to me.
Okay.
You see? the game they played me.
Okay, so you decided.
You see, I'll definitely retaliate. I must retaliate. You see?
Okay.
That was me. It was not for any purpose of lucrative cheating that I saw in the
There were no incentives, no.
In the PPP also.
Okay.
Because when I joined the PPP, I was first Minister Parliament Secretary, Minister of Finance.
Okay.
Although by that time, all the ministries had gone, you see, because already Jawara had appointed his ministers, but the post of parliament as well. Okay. But I was appointed parliament secretary by. But
but let me, before you move to something, one quick question. In your assessment, how much impact did your move to the PPP have on the United Party?
It didn't change the situation at all.
It didn't.
People might be saying something like that, but there was a big gap. There was a big margin, you see? And the PPP had a comfortable majority.
Yes.
My remaining in the UP will not have
changed
the situation.
Okay.
Because PP then had, in a small house of 20 something or 30, a majority of 8 seats. One. And so there was, subsequent elections proved what I'm saying.
Yes.
The still PP was winning.
Okay. Okay.
And in fact, eventually, most of these people came over to the PPP. So my decision to part with the UP did not alter the situation at all. The situation had already been there.
Yeah, but
as a result of the election.
Some analysts believe that you had blazed the trail for all the movement from the United Party to the
But
PPP.
trail?
Blazed the trail. You started. You triggered off the chain of people moving from the United Party to the PPP.
But I'm saying you don't seem to see what I'm saying.
I'm trying to say it.
You don't seem to understand what I am saying. The PPP majority, its substantial majority was already there.
Yes.
Even if I had remained in the UP,
it wouldn't have made change anything.
It wouldn't have made any difference.
All right.
Because you wouldn't expect all the 8 people to leave the PPP. Why? In fact, you should expect a change from the other end.
Okay. Good.
So that fact is there because, and I have told you why I did this.
Yes, you told me.
Because they wounded me.
True.
See?
So you retaliated.
Yes, they played me a very nasty game, and I observed that these people, if I had not been a member of the family here, of course I would not have been sponsored.
True.
Because I was a member of the family and they were prepared to stand by my side to the end. They stood, in fact, by my side to the end. And I praise them for that. Okay. And what happened in subsequent election? Normally when you move to when you leave this party and go to another party, it may well be that at another election you lose your seat. But that was not the case with me.
Okay. Okay.
I see.
So you stayed on for another term?
Term and not on until I left office, you see.
Okay. But you when you moved to the PPP,
yes,
you were appointed as parliament secretary.
So I was appointed parliament secretary.
For which ministry?
In fact, they wanted, Jawara would have preferred me in his office as parliament secretary. But I couldn't speak Mandinka.
Okay.
You see, I was unable to speak Mandinka, and it was necessary to have a Mandinka speaking person as parliament secretary, private office, because of the nature of his work, with people coming from the different people who come to him to discuss matters, and because of the volume of transaction for the rural people.
Yes.
You see, there was need for him to have a man who could speak Mandinka as well. So, but then I then became, Bahamankani was appointed that, and I was appointed Parliament Secretary, Minister of Finance.
Okay.
You see,
Who was the minister at the time?
On the
Sirif
Sirif,
Sisi.
yes.
Okay.
The man who was second in command.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
And then again, I told you, I joined the party after all ministerial appointments had been dished away.
Yes.
Yes. And there was no question of, recalling any one of them, or they were new ministers, you wouldn't be able to just recall one for the benefit of another person.
Okay. Did you occupy any other position after?
No, I remained Minister of Health. Sorry, Parliament Secretary.
Yes.
After Parliament Secretary, then I became Minister.
You became Minister of
Health.
Health.
Minister of Health.
Okay.
I became Minister of Health.
What year was this?
Pardon?
What year was this?
It was in 1965. 1965.
Okay, and that was just before independence, or after? Was it
after independence? 65. After independence. After independence.
Okay.
In September.
Okay.
Independence was in February.
Okay. What was the nature of party politics at that time? When Jawara had a huge mandate, and PPP was at the helm of affairs.
Yeah.
Then United Party, Democratic Party, Congress Party.
Imagine all those political parties came together at one time.
They came together.
Yes. What happened was this. In the battlefield, it used to be mainly the Banjul parties.
The Banjul parties. That's why they.
Well, it was sorting to make it not to take too much of the time of the.
No, I get it.
That's why
that was
I just said Banjul party.
Banjul parties, United Party, Democratic
Then
Congress,
because
yes.
I'm coming to talk about the PPP,
yes.
being a party that was born in the provinces.
Yes.
Likely provincial people. So the people of Banjul used to fight one another. They were fighting each other actually in Banjul. The parties there, you see, particularly what happened in the beginning was that UP used to be the predominant party. It used to be the most powerful of the three parties. It used to control Banjul, because then, as I told you earlier, the franchise was within this area, Banjul and the greater Banjul area. See here, Combo, Bakau, and so on. You see, so but UP used to have the majority. Then you had only three political parties, led by Jessica Jahumpa and Ketia. You see? But they became afterwards sworn enemies. That was too much for politics. Politics wouldn't go to such an extent. There was so much that
it was bad.
When PVP came in, especially, there was a time when Congress and Democratic decided to come together to fight the UP.
Yes, that was the DCA alliance.
Pardon? Yes, when they made that alliance, they came together to fight the UP. But they didn't succeed.
No.
You see?
No.
Still, when they used to win them at the elections.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
But when PVP came, when they opened the floodgates, you see, and the people of the provinces came, they the Banjul parties observed that with these people, they will soon get rid of the Penjai. The two parties decided that they should somehow come together with the PP. After they tried with the PP, that failed too, so they decided to join the PP, to support the PP against UP. That's what I'm saying by, by that they kill themselves.
Yeah, because then it became PPP, DCA alliance.
Yes, they came together to fight the UP.
Yeah.
Sorry, to fight the PPP. No, to fight the UP. That's it, yes.
To fight the UP,
yes. To fight the UP. You see?
Okay.
And actually they succeeded. You see? They fought the UP, but with the PVP taking the leadership. So we mean the two parties were just the Cinderella. They were just behind this. After all, it was PVP. Eventually, in fact, PVP came out openly as the dominant factor, you see.
Yes. Okay, tell me.
It became everything there, so those two parties were no longer anything.
Yes. But there's something that's still not very clear in my mind.
And then UP to die, you see, actually, because it was losing election after election.
Yeah. But so, tell me, there are two things that are still not clear in my mind. The first thing is, what was the reason why Sanjali Bojang was expelled from the party at the Congress in Bukama?
That's right, that's a good question, Mr.
That's
Sillah.
the first question.
Sanjali, it so happened that Jawara made a trip to Nigeria.
Yes, for the Nigerian independence.
That's right.
Yes.
And then in his absence, the colonial government, you see, the colonial government were they were this practice of divide and rule. You see, they applied it everywhere in all their colonies, even the small Gambia. When Jawara, when the Banjul parties were moving quickly, they realized that if they should leave these parties to go as they wanted, independence would certainly be inevitable. And it should come almost now. You see that? So they realized this. So, in fact, it is believed that it was they who talked to the chiefs and tell them, form your party, you are in the majority in the whole country, your people, the people of the provinces. You see?
Yes.
And that was, and you cannot disbelieve this because when they advocated this at the meeting at Birkama, the colonial authorities seemed to like the thing quickly and they accepted it without any problem, and then they passed it on to colonial office, and colonial office, okay. So they did this so that the teaming protectorate votes would vote down the Banjul people.
Yes.
You see? Meaning voting down the Banjul parties.
Yes.
You see?
Okay.
So it was there, in fact, the colonial people who also created this PVP.
Yes, but this question...
And then...
yes, I have another question which is tied to the same question I've asked you.
Yeah.
When the governor decided to elect P.S. Njai as the chief minister,
yes.
On what grounds did he base that on?
That's...
because
you know, I think you... what the first question you asked me was... in the PVP, let me just clear that one.
Yes.
The colonial authorities when they observed that the people of people wanted independence, and they were of a different opinion. They belonged to different school of thought. They wanted to delay independence. They turned to the provinces and asked them to come forward to vote down the people of Banjul. But by then, they thought, by so doing, the people of the provinces they regarded them as fools, that they wouldn't agitate for independence so soon. So they turned to them, you see, give them help to vote down the people of Banjul. This was how they did it, you see. But they were mistaken. When not realizing that the people of the provinces were also, there were some educated people who were not fools.
Yes, yes.
They wanted what Banjul to run. So that reminds me of India, when India was India,
Yes.
And Pakistan was part of it. If they were agitating for independence from the colonial government, you see, the colonial government said that the Pakistani people, they were the Muslims forming the Pakistani people. They were
So there are parallels.
They were enemies.
Yes.
The Hindus and the Muslims. You see? But then Pakistan was part of India. But they said, what the Pakistanis said, the Pakistanis said to the British. We are equally interested in independence as the people of India. You see?
Yes.
Only that we want partition on independence. But we are not lacking behind, we are just asking for what they are asking. The same thing, independence. So this is so the people of Banjul, it's an analogy, you see. The people of Banjul wanted independence, but the colonial government thought that the people of Banjul were too civilized, they wanted independence, and they themselves didn't want to go. You see, they said they decided to help the people of the provinces to delay independence. So they thought that was the solution. Delay the people of the provinces to come into politics. By that way, they would delay independence. But they were mistaken. When they did that, they saw this man from Nigeria. He came and said independence for Gambia. Jawara.
Jawara came with a constitution that was already
That's what I'm saying now. This was a disappointment to the colonial authorities.
Exactly.
They did not expect something like that. They thought that the people of the province were fools. They were not going to agitate for independence. You see, so they would still stay here for a much longer time. But they were disappointed. And when this man came, when Jawara came and asked for independence, they were surprised. You see? But that now brought about the disagreement between Sanjali and the PPP. You asked me about that.
Yes, because
in his absence, that's Jawara. Sanjali was coquetting with the other parties here. You see? With UP, we never wanted to agree with Congress and Democratic Party. You see? And then it was the colonial forces who were there again. They spoke to the two sides. Because then they observed what PPP wanted to do. I told you they were disappointed by the PPP. So when they realized this, they wanted to change the whole scenario. But it was late. See, so they got Sanjali Bojang to have to talk with the other side. Sanjali then had a chat with the leaders of the two parties, UP and PPP, UP and the Congress. But and then they agreed on something like coming together, forming a forefront for a certain thing which was going to delay independence.
Yes.
It was a colonial trick.
Solidarity Party.
Yes, it was a colonial trick.
Yes. But you see, Sanjali and
Sanjali then
and
yes,
Fai and Jahumpa
then
came
Sanjali.
together. Yes.
Then when Jawara came and found that Sanjali had arranged this, he was furious.
Yes.
You see? Then he called that betrayal by the party's president. And he summoned a big meeting at Birkama to explain how wrong what Sanjali did and what they should do with him. And that was to expel him from the party.
Yes. And that was a decision.
And that was done. It was decided at Birkama.
Yes.
Yeah, the meeting held by this man. Then Jawara was very powerful.
Yes, he was.
You see?
Yeah. Okay, and then Jawara quickly decided to move the party away from partisan politics.
From?
Partisan, because you were saying there were these Banjul parties and there were these provincial parties.
Well, he called it People's Protected Party.
Yes.
You see, Protected People's Party.
And then he moved away from that.
From that because he wanted his wife.
To the people.
But he wanted his wife to stand.
Exactly.
You see, and if his wife should stand without a change in his name, probably she would have lost the election.
Exactly.
That was what he thought.
Yes.
And in fact, even after the change, it didn't matter, she lost somehow.
Yes.
It would have been worse if the change hadn't taken place.
Yes. But that was an interesting juncture in the development of the PPP.
Yeah.
Because this was a time that they went out and wooed all the other Banjul people.
Well, PPP
yes.
Wanted more seats only, wanted, but not needed more seats.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
Human nature being what it is.
Yes.
You will want something, but you don't need it.
No.
You see?
Yeah. But then something interesting happened to me. Two things. The first is Fuladu.
Yes, Fuladu.
They were very much into UP.
Pardon?
Fuladu.
Yes, the whole Upper River.
Yes.
The whole Upper River but then that was before my
that was
time,
before
you know, a little bit. Because when during the time of this man, this Balde,
yes.
not Paul.
Henry. Was his brother?
Huh?
Which Balde is it?
Michael Balde.
Michael, yes.
Yes. Michael Balde, you see, even with all Upper River, going to the UP, all the whole Upper River and Salom and all went to the UP.
Yes.
Despite that, the PPP came out with a comfortable or resounding majority. PPP had the support of the giants of the bulk of the country. The bulk of the country.
Yes.
You see, were in support. You see, the Banjul parties made their mistake from the beginning. None of them was interested
in the provinces.
Yeah, and the vacuum was there.
Yeah, but that is
the
correct.
Vacuum continued
exactly
until the PPP came into being.
Yes.
And then they filled the vacuum.
Yeah, but then some would say, the ones who support FAI would say,
they wanted to.
That's the people who support JC FAI would say no, that was not the case because FAI had established himself and had a reputation in Kantora. And that was
but Kantora alone is not the provinces.
Yes.
I mean the whole provinces.
Yes, true.
That's a political party.
Yes.
But you see, you are not supposed to have one place and say this place is enough.
Yes.
You see, Banjul people did the same thing. They had Banjul, definitely.
Okay.
If you're not to here, to a Banco, you call it, you see.
Okay.
But the vacuum in the, we call it from the, you can start it from Birkama side, Fonyi, go into Kiangjara, you go up, you see, Jinyaminas, you go down now, before you enter the full of the city.
Okay.
Mr. Sillah.
Let me ask you another question. You were probably not a member of the PPP at the time.
Yeah, what was that?
But the founding of the PPP is still very, very controversial. I've had different versions of it.
I became a member of the party. I was not a founder member, that's true.
Yeah, but
I became a member of the party in the same year that the party was born.
Okay, good.
You see. Okay, all right. Now, what were you going to say?
I'm saying that I've had different versions of founding of the party.
For the choosing of the leadership?
No, the founding of the party, yes.
Yeah.
The choosing of the leader. Okay.
Okay, I can tell you all about it.
And also, but I also want you to tell us about the PPS. How was it linked? The Protected People's Society. How was that linked to the Protected People's Society?
That's it. I can tell you that. What happened was this. When there was nothing.
Okay.
You see, and I should say, when there was nothing in the province, it's called it, no political party and anything. You see, parties were confined to Banjul and this area. Sanjali used to be the chief laborer for the UAC, and laborers were coming. He was in charge of the laborers, you see, to load ships with groundnut. Ships that were coming to the Gambia to collect groundnut, you see. And then he earned name as early as at that time. Sanjali Bojang, everybody knew him by that time, you see. Then again, after that, I think he formed a society which was responsible for burying people who died in Banjul without relatives. You see? Therefore, I think he observed that in the mortuary that people were brought in there, so to say, you see, that sort of. And then he said, well, he would take it upon himself to take care of such people, such dead people. And you know, that was a good thing, you see. It was a good gesture. Then came next, he formed what was called Combo Society. You see? Then this called Combo Society linked with another society called Nyomi Society. So it became Combo Nyomi Society. You see? I don't know. So the two were they were apart. They were apart. They were societies. Nyomi had its own people, had its own organization. PPP was again. But Sanjali had his own Combo Society because he was from Birkama, Combo. So I think what I would call overtaken by events, I don't know, or that he planned it. But because when the franchise was extended to the province, he saw his opportunity. Realizing straight away that the bulk of the people of the province were neglected and that they should now have the opportunity, now was the opportunity for them to come. And then he brought the two, Nyomi and Sotil, and Nyomi and Kumbo societies together. You see? And then Sirif Sise, actually, you know, Jawara is not a founder member of the PPP. I must tell you this. He wasn't a founder member.
Good, yes.
He was dragged in. He was, after the party was formed by Sirif Sise, Sri Diba, Sanjali Bojang and others. Chief Sirif ever came to me, he was my friend, long time. You see, even when they started this party, but I was not that much interested. I waited for, and somehow I didn't want. But when my people came, it was a different thing, as I told you earlier. Really. So, they agreed with Sanjali to form a party. You see, after this declaration, after, you know what I told you earlier, after the meeting here, and then white, and then colonial office agreeing for more progressive constitutional change, advance, and so on. You see. So, then they formed this party, then they agreed to form the party, and they were very much interested in what they were, and they were all sincere about it. So, I think they originally decided, after they agreed to form this, you see, they decided to have Lamin Marina to be the leader of the party.
Yes.
So they in fact tried two people, or not two people, but didn't succeed to lead the party before Jawara. Lamin Marina was one of Alexandra dead now, Jubate. He used to be an architect.
Mr. Jubate.
Alexandra Jubate.
Stanley Street.
Him, huh?
Is that the man at Stanley Street?
Stanley.
No, there was a Jubate at Stanley Street. Stanley Street, Spalding Street.
Yes, I think he had his compound.
That's his compound.
Yes.
Where the fire brigade lived.
Yes, probably so. Yes. I knew him, but I didn't know where he was living. But I knew he was in Banjul. So anyway, he was tried, but he didn't seem to have interest. Lamin Marina, point blank, said he was not going to be. He was not interested because he was not interested in politics. That was then the time they switched to Jawara.
Yeah, but before Jawara, did they ask Bakari Sidibe?
Bakari Sidibe, they didn't ask him. He wanted it.
Oh, he wanted it. Good. That's what I wanted to establish.
He wanted it.
Okay.
Tamba Jame's son Sirif
wanted it
too.
Okay.
So this is another disappointment to the chiefs.
Yes.
As I said earlier, the chiefs who agitated for the franchise to reach the provinces, but it was not. They thought they were doing a good thing for themselves, doing good service for themselves, but they were not. They were just doing the opposite.
Yes.
It was just the reverse. For them. You see, so this is one of the disappointments. So Tambaja Mason wanted.
Yes.
Bakari Sidibe wanted, but I think they wanted a more. I think. Well, they were organization, not highly educated people were many there, but they wanted a more educated person than these two to lead the party. You know, Marina is more educated than these two, you know? And so was Jabate and even Jawara. That was why, because they were without head. They were for some time looking for somebody. They didn't want Jawara for many reasons. Especially when the chiefs came in, the chiefs wanted to have a share in the administration, in the running of the party, of the new party. But they didn't realize that they were making a serious mistake. That these people, that this organization came to kill them.
Yes.
You see?
Yes. Okay.
And to please the ordinary people.
Okay. Let me just ask one more question to close that part. Bakari Sidibe went and stood as a candidate for the UP in Fulado. Is that correct? As a result?
Yes, because he wanted the PP to select him as party leader.
Yes.
He didn't get that. They wanted again. Afterward, he came to them to say that he wanted, because he left when they refused to choose him. He came back for them to sponsor him. So he was after office, according to this. So they refused. And then he went to the UP.
Yes.
So
okay, that's the point I wanted to clarify. Like?
It's a very good conversation.
No, Uncle is on form. You can tell he's a teacher.
And you are now, you know, I used to have friends, you know, Tapasu Sewada and all this. These were my friends.
Yes.
And whenever they saw me coming, they said, Bailen Kumunyo Turu.
Wow.
When I came, they would start, they would touch something.
Yes.
Then Wada also, you know what? You knew Wada.
Yes,
He died
yes.
now. He was the second general
Yes,
of
yes.
PPRC. Wada.
Yes, yes, Mustafa.
And so Tafa Sosi too.
Yes, yes.
We were the four friends, Usman Lo and I.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
Usman, then whenever I started, then Wada would say, Bailen Kumuturu. I would touch here, touch there.
Okay.
Then they would be at a loss straight away.
Yes. Okay.
So things were very easy with me in those days. And then if you touch, politics is my specialty. You touch it.
No, I noticed you get
economics. I told you earlier that after school I started. And Wada was saying so one day that it was a good thing that they did overseas studies.
Okay.
So I did overseas studies, politics, what again? Economics.
Yes.
Okay. And history.
Yes. Okay, good. Okay, then Jawara became established.
Yes.
And then PPP ruled this country for
about
a number
30 years.
30 years. Looking back, what were the major faults? What were the major successes? What were the drawbacks to success, if any?
Well, you see, in the political system or in the administration, I mean the general welfare of the country.
Yes, generally.
Because in the politics,
because
that one I want to tell you straight away, because it's just a small thing, it's not a long story, where the system of government, you know, in the old days, ministers were drawn. Ministers were drawn from parliament. Ministers must have seat in parliament. Before you were appointed minister, you must have a seat in parliament. You must be elected. Except perhaps the post of Attorney General. You see, because of its nature. So that was, and it's a thing I still cherish. You see, but it disappeared during the Second Republic. In Jammeh did away with that.
Okay.
And was drawing his ministers from the country.
Okay.
You see, direct.
But let's stick to Jawara and his rulership. We'll come to Jammeh afterwards.
No, because I was just making comparison. The system of government.
Yes.
I was comparing the two systems. The two systems. You see, in that aspect, I think the Jawara system was better for the people because, in that case, if in that system, the head of state normally finds it difficult. Finds it difficult, or yes, finds it difficult to do away with anybody. Because if he does so, he is offending a constituency, and that might be very expensive for him. Do you see my point?
Yes.
Is it?
Because his interest was to keep
yes. If
his party together.
if members of the cabinet, if cabinet appointment is based on parliamentary seat, you see, if a man is elected and he appoints him eventually as minister, he cannot remove him at will. You see, he must give the matter consideration and talk to people, because if he dismisses that, if he dismisses any minister, that minister will go to his constituency. Of course, if there's no need, they will know that. They will say, well, we are disappointed, this man has to go away with our man. So that is a constituency almost lost by the party. So it was a very democratic system. The head of state, the head of government, or head of so, well, you know, I was in office during the time of the monarchy, when we were monarchy. You see, when we were Republicans. By then I was away from office. So the 6 years I did in cabinet, I did it in government. It was during the monarchy time. It was the country was a monarchy. You see, it was, the head was the Governor General. You see, and then what's again?
Are you more familiar with these things?
What's happened?
That's fine.
Huh?
This was before 70. Because the Republican status was 70.
Pardon?
1970.
He's clarifying this to me. I'm not so au fait with.
Let's ask about just
what is the Republican?
Yes.
We can wrap up.
No, the monarchy started from colonial days, in fact, up to independence. Even after independence, we are still monarchy. Because the head of state is still Queen Elizabeth II,
Yes.
who is represented by the Governor General. The Governor General is appointed by the Prime Minister on the advice, by the Prime Minister or the Cabinet, by the Queen, on the advice of the Prime Minister or the Cabinet.
Yeah. Okay. But let me drift away from that a little.
So the monarchy, monarchy only stopped after the country becomes a republic. You see?
1970.
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't there at the time.
Okay. But
the rest of what I know, I read.
Okay, let's assume you were there. I presume you still continue to be a member of the party.
Yes.
Okay, my question now is, if you were to do it all over again, what sorts of things would you think you would have changed? What sorts of things you would have retained? And why do you think Jawara pushed in for a direct suffrage for the presidency? In your opinion?
Part of your...
Huh?
You see why Jawara?
Pushed for a direct suffrage. That means direct elections into the presidency.
I see. From monarchy to republic.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
From monarchy to republic.
Yes.
Well, I'm part of ambition. He had the ambition to become overall boss. That was all.
Yeah.
He wanted to do away with the monarchy because the Governor General was head of state at the time and he was head of government, but head of government with executive power. Just like Senghor, Senegal, when Senghor and Mamadou Dia were there, and that normally brings about how do you call it? Class of personalities is bound to come. In that, and it happened in Senegal.
Okay.
Dia and Senghor.
Okay.
Senghor was head of state, but he was just a puppet. You see, a constitutional head. Dia was executive prime minister. But this is what happened in the end. clash of personalities between the two. So, and then...
Like, do you want to
what?
push this and wrap up?
Yeah, I think you should just go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What? Am I taking too much?
No. We think it's going very, very well.
Is it? I hope so.
The discussion is good. But I still want to push you a bit more away from this constitutional monarchy and from this thing. But I want you to look back at the PPP, its activities, its involvement, its politics, its economics. Those are the things I'm interested in. What did you do well and what did you not do so well as a party in ruling this country?
You know, I was not long in government. I served only 3 years, of which 6 years, of which the 3 years were parliamentary role, member of government.
Yes.
Then, 6 years. And PP did 30 years, you see. This is a long time. You see,
okay,
when the colonial authorities handed power, you see, and that is always the case everywhere. It normally happens that the country concerned may have little development, very little.
Okay.
The most important matters are normally neglected by the colonial government.
Thank you.
Particularly in the former British possessions.
Yes.
The French possessions were a little bit better, but the two colonial systems were different.
Yes.
The British system was to stay. Was pure colonialism, to take as much as possible and disappear.
Okay, well,
Whereas the French system was
some may not agree
to
with
live.
you. I don't think I'll agree with you. Both colonialisms are bad.
Yes, but the French system was a little bit better. Well, the one that had the worst colonial record was Portugal.
Yes.
Portugal had the worst colonial record, followed by Spain, you see, and then Britain, you see. But France, you see, the French people, they had, because they too, why they were disappointed by the system, because they were coming to live, they thought they were going to live side by side with the people. That was their colonial system. That was why they developed the areas they were occupied, the area in which they were, because they were not for independence. They were, because even when independence was near, they want to turn round to form a commonwealth.
Well, they did form a commonwealth.
They turned around to form a commonwealth. You see, just to be, they wanted to be, they didn't want to leave.
No, of course they didn't want to leave.
They wanted to stay.
Even now,
you see, they wanted to stay. I mean, the view at that time, during colonialism, when they took the country as a colony, what they wanted was, this country, we are going to slap the people so that they wake up and see, and we move together with them.
Okay.
Whereas the British people would say, okay, you African, you are sleeping, go on.
Okay.
They would take as much as possible.
Okay.
So the two systems, different.
Okay, so let me just say this finally.
Yeah.
It's a question. I've tried to ask you the same question in different ways. But I'm not getting anywhere with them.
But I only hope that you will go satisfied with what I'm saying, because I am not talking, I don't know.
No. Now I'm going fully satisfied.
I
That
only hope so.
politician.
I only hope so. Because I don't want to wait. I don't want to keep here to this time, and then you want to go without being satisfied with what I have told you. And Mr. said, you too. What do you say? What's your response?
I think Baba wants to ask you what Jawara accomplished and why he failed.
I say now, okay.
That's more direct.
But then you see, okay. But that calls.
Yes.
I was going to say that would call for special sitting. Special seating.
We'll come back. We'll come back.
Because I don't want to give you half and the rest. Because I won't be able to tell you all. I will talk to one side of it. But yeah, I will tell you.
Okay.
It was just like the rising and falling of the British Empire.
Okay. Okay.
So he too, where he failed and where he succeeded, I could tell you, but then it means it will take time.
Yeah,
certainly,
time.
Because
Okay.
and I wouldn't want to rush it. I want to tell you what I know, and would tell you clearly that what I want to tell you would be that would be of such a nature that even if you go to somebody else, he wouldn't be able to tell you something better.
Exactly.
And if so being the case, I would strongly urge that
we have
leave
another
it for
session. Let's have another session line. We'll come back. But Uncle, it's a real pleasure.
Thank you.
We thank you for giving us your time, your precious time.
Thank you.
We are very grateful to you.
Thank you.
And this is going down in history as a politician who was there when history was being made.
That's right.
And you are honest enough to share those times with us.
That's true. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, this is that I've told you. I told you of head, not something I am telling you from a paper. It's not something reading. It's all that I told you. I told you of head. So it may well be that I have omitted some things, some important matters. Man being what he is. You see, I cannot be perfect.
True.
But I think I have done my best.
Absolutely.
I've done my best. And you will allow me for any misgivings, any
shortcomings.
Yes.
No, we appreciate that. We do.
Or anything that I have failed to say,
Yes.
and which would have been, which you were expecting me to say.
No. You said,
see, if there is anything that I omitted, and you thought you expected me to say it, I am sorry that at this 11th hour, you see, you cannot wait for it.
We'll come back.
So, unless you come back.
We'll come back.
We want to hear your Jawara version.
He said, what did he say? What did he say, Mr.
You know, a few things we're going to ask. Keep it in mind. We want to ask you about Jawara's resignation. We want to ask you.
In 92, yes.
Yes. How much money was he given? Right? I understand people collected money so that he doesn't lose out on his gratuity and pensions.
Jawara?
Yes. Did you not know that?
No, he had already left government by then.
Oh, yeah.
No, he was put on pension.
Yeah.
This man, Jame made a pension scheme.
No. Well, I'm talking about when he left the veterinary service.
When he left the veterinary service.
I see.
Yeah, did he leave the veterinary service on that condition?
On what condition?
That he should be rewarded, given he doesn't lose his benefits.
I see.
I want you to think about that.
Yes.
When he was leaving government,
When he was leaving the veterinary
the
service.
veterinary service, he,
Yes. As director of
As
medical
director-
director of medical services.
Okay, you know, he resigned.
Yes, he actually resigned, and I don't think he had his all his benefits, you know.
No, but what I'm saying is, did the
Because-
PPP paid for that, or the
Pardon?
people?
He was Jawara. Yes, he paid for it, but Jawara, at that moment of living to become a politician, it was an occasion which it was a tricky period. He nearly decided to change his mind, because when he resigned, it happened that he bought a place at Yundum,
Yes.
where he prepared that place and transferred there, because the colonial government said they wanted their compound, which at Abuko. So he must leave.
So he moved to
so he had to move
to Banjul.
to Banjul.
Okay.
And there was no, and he was the only bread earner at that time in the family, because he was there with the wife and the kids. They were too young.
Yes.
You see.
Yeah, but this.
So when they moved into their house, that residence, which was a poor place, not quite good. Even he had to pay with small money he was having, and then the next thing was now how to live, because he was not earning anything, and the wife was not working. The wife was a sister, but she was not working at the time. The children were too young; they were not working. So what he did was he turned out to be a petrol attendant. Petrol attendant.
Petrol attendant. We'll come to this. This is getting more and more interesting.
We'll have to come back.
We'll come
He
back.
himself
Yes.
wrote it in his book. So there was not that I invented this. He became a petrol attendant, selling petrol
Okay.
to earn his living.
After he left
Yes.
government.
And when he come, I show you the book where he put it down. He put it down there. But I am not in that. I said it off it. No.
All right.
He himself said it. He said, well, no source of income again.
Okay.
So he allowed the company, a certain company, he arranged with a certain with BP, I don't know.
Yeah.
They fixed a station, a filling station there in his compound, in front, and then he told them to employ him. You see? He to employ him to do the job. That's why I say he
You
used
became a
the
petrol
word
attendant.
petrol attendant. So what more? What can I say? He said he would become a
Yes, he said it himself.
He was not actually doing it, but to show you his situation at the time.
Yes,
You see?
yes.
That is,
But
he had his difficulties.
Yes.
In England, he was fooled by this MC Chang.
Yes, I read
Yes.
that book.
You read that?
I went to
book?
the house.
You read that about him?
Yeah.
And he lost his house?
Yes, I was.
Over
I went
15
to. I went to the house in Haywards Heath myself. Yes, and he was. Yes.
But we'll come
Okay,
back.
we'll come back. We'll come back. The more we talk, the more it's getting more interesting.
Exciting again.